split was for converting your a string to a list, right? So we'll talk about list today, in a very detailed way, right? And if you want to create a string from a list, you can use join method, right? So a couple of methods we have discussed yesterday, and then we talked about if, else, and alif. We had a discussion yesterday on that, and then we talked about loops, and I could only cover while loop into that. So for loop is still need to be discussed, so we will continue with that part first, right? So now I'm moving to day 3 agenda. What is the agenda for day 3, right? So I'm going to discuss about the for loop first, then I'll talk about then I will talk about a list in Python. Then I will talk about functions in Python, and if we have some time, I also talk about tuple. So generally, I'm targeting to finish with these first 3 items, right? And then you can if there is time availability, we'll talk about the tuple as well. So guys, am I audible and you can see my screen so that I can start? Please confirm me. Okay, a lot of people saying yes, 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 yes. My screen is full. Okay, good. Now I'm moving to my Spider screen. So as we do every day, I have created a new file, and the name of that new file is day3.py. So whatever the code we write today, you will find this in day3.py or day3.txt for your in your Google Drive, right? Yesterday we discussed about loops, and that discussion was not complete. So I'll start with the loops first. So now, guys, listen to me very carefully, and please all focus on what I discuss here. Let's say, we have a list. So I'm going to start this with a list. So I have a list, right? And in the list, let's say I take a couple of names. So let's say I take a couple of city names, right? So let's say I take Hyderabad, right? One city. I take another city, let's say Chennai, right? One more city I can take is Bangalore, right? So a little reduce in font size. So let's reduce that one, right? Or maybe I can put an enter here. Bangalore, and then I take one more city, let's say Trivandrum, right? Um, Spelling may be wrong, but okay, you get the point. So I have 4 items in this list. Okay, so guys, pardon me, if spelling is not correct, or your city is not included, right? So this list one has 4 items. Uh, the first item is Hyderabad, right? The second item is Chennai. The third item is Bangalore, right? And the fourth item is Trivandrum, right? It has got 4 items in the list. Now, what is the length of this list? The length of this list means how many items it has. I can find out using len method. And we have already used this len method in case of strings as well, where it tells us what is the length of a given string. Now we want to know the length of a list in this case, and there you see 4. The output is 4 on the console that you can see, right? That means it has 4 items in the list, right? Now, I want to check the type. I can check the type as well. I have a type method, and what I can pass in this, I can pass the name of my list, right? So type list1, and there you can see today we get a new data type, and that data type is list. So this is a list, right? And this list, as I told you yesterday as well, is similar to arrays in C programming with a couple of changes, but in terms of syntax, it looks like an array in C programming, right? Now, in this list, I want to print the city names one by one. This is my, a problem statement, that in this list, I want to print the names, city names one by one, right? And for that, what I can do, I can use a loop, right? So if I want to print the names one by one name at a time, I can make use of loops. For this purpose, I'm going to use a for loop. So I'm telling you how to write a for loop in Python. So let's focus on the line number 11. Keyword is for, right? Now, for each item, I say, I say each, but I'm not typing it, right? I'm just saying for each item in list one. So how to read this line? How to read this line is for each item in list one, then I have a column. After the column, I press enter. Indentation changes, that you can see the indentation has changed, right? It has taken 4 spaces, forward. And now I say print item. Now I say print item, right? Let's run this and then we'll explore more about it. So this is a for loop, right? How to read it? For each item in list one, right? Print item, right? And now let's select it and print it. So now you can see on the console, first city name, then the second city name, then the third city name, and then the fourth one, right? Okay, what is happening here, guys, right? In the first iteration of this loop, item would be equal to Hyderabad, right? In the first iteration, item would directly refer to first name Hyderabad and then print it. In the second iteration, item would directly refer to second item Chennai and print it. In the third iteration, item would refer to Bangalore, the third name in the list, and then print it. And the fourth iteration, item would be equal to Trivandrum and then print it. So as now you should get an understanding that item is not an index here. Item is directly value into the list, right? The item is directly referring to the names in the list. It is not an index. And you can have any name. I have taken the name item, but you can have any name here. So let's say I rewrite this for loop, something like that, for each name in list one, right? For each name in list one, what I say, print name. And now in this case, I get the same output. This time, when the loop runs, for the first time, name would be equal to Hyderabad. In the second iteration, name would be equal to Chennai. In the third iteration, name would be equal to Bangalore. And the fourth iteration, name would be equal to Trivandrum, right? I can take any other name which is like, good for you, right? If you say for each X in list one, right? How can I write it? Print X, right? So this is how, this is a for loop, just item we are using as a, this item is called as iterator. What we call it as? Iterator, right? And that iterator for the first time will have the Hyderabad as a value. Second time, the iterator will have Chennai. Third time, the iterator will have item, Bangalore. And the fourth time, the iterator will have Trivandrum, right? The same way with this loop and the same way with this loop, right? So here iterator is item, here iterator is name, here iterator is X. In all of these forms, we are getting the same answer. Is it clear to everyone, guys, that how the for loop is working in Python? This is a little bit different from C programming or C++, although while loop was exactly same as what we had in C programming. While loop was same, but the, for each loop is different here. We call it as a for each, right? Okay, we'll take, a couple of other things as well. Now, a couple of things we want to understand more. Guys, see this. Let's say this is my list, so I'll take here, right, so that I can, move a little bit up. So now this is my list. List 1 has a couple of city names. I want to print the city name. So again, for loop is good for me. For each item in list 1, print item, right? And in this way, I print the items one by one. I want to print the items or the name of the cities in just one line, right? Here you can see it is printed in 4 different lines. I want to print them in the same line, horizontal, right? Hyderabad, then Chennai, then Bangalore, then the other city names. What I can do here in the print statement, I say comma, and then I use a keyword and is equal to, and maybe in the and I can specify, let's say, comma. So this is you can see it's a double quote, and the double quote I have given a comma, right? Comma is a string, just to have a separation between the items. And there you see the output, guys. Now you can see Hyderabad, comma Chennai, comma Bangalore, comma Trivandrum, and the comma in the last is what we are getting, right? So if you have a space instead of comma, if you keep a space, right, instead of comma, and then in that case you will see Hyderabad, Chennai, Bangalore, and Trivandrum, right? So by default, actually by default, and is always equal to what? New line. And is always equal to what? New line. So if I specify and is equal to new line explicitly, now you see again our items are printed separately in each line, right? So that's the point here. I come back to the original form of writing the form for loop. So this is our for loop. Now guys, focus what I include. So now I quickly revise something what we discussed yesterday, right? So let's see what I say now. For each item in list 1 column, I press enter and I'll make a space for writing some new statement here. What I write here, just understand that. I write a if condition, if, right? And I say, if item is equal to Chennai, I see that what I'm making. I'm making a comparison, right? If item is equal to Chennai, column, press enter, indentation change, and I write a keyword break here. Guys, can you notice now what I have introduced? Within the for loop, I have taken a if condition, and what the condition is for, I'm just checking if the name becomes equal to Chennai, have a break. What is the meaning of a break? Break will terminate the loop execution. It will stop the loop execution. So let's see what happens. In the first iteration, item would be equal to Hyderabad, and Hyderabad is not equal to Chennai. So this condition would be false. If this condition would be false, we will not find the break. We will not encounter the break, and directly we will print the name. In the second iteration, item is equal to Chennai. So here Chennai becomes equal to Chennai. So this condition becomes true and we get the break. Because break will only happen if this condition becomes true. And as we get the break, the loop execution terminates, right? So see the output, what we will see only? We will see only one output, and that is equal to Hyderabad. Why Hyderabad? Why not other city names, right? Why not other city names? Because in the second iteration, item was equal to Chennai. right? Item was equal to Chennai, and the condition became true. And as soon as the condition became true, we got the break, and the break terminates the loop. Whether it's a while loop or whether it's a for each loop, right? We are going to terminate the execution if we use a break statement, right? So guys, is it clear to you? Is that clear to you that how the break is working? Okay, I'll take one more example. I'll take one more example. Let's say I say item is equal to Bangalore, right? Now, what would happen in this case? When we run the loop for the first time, item is equal to Hyderabad, right? And in this comparison for if condition, right? Item is Hyderabad. Hyderabad is equal to Bangalore. No, Hyderabad is not equal to Bangalore. So this condition is false. If this condition is false, there will be no break. We will print the name, and the name is Hyderabad. In the second iteration, the item is Chennai. Again, this condition is false. So there is no break. We will again print the name. In the third iteration, item is Bangalore, and we are comparing it with Bangalore, right? So this condition becomes true, and we get the break. And as soon as we get the break, we terminate the execution. So we only see two city names in the display, Hyderabad and Chennai, right? Because Bangalore will actually break this loop. So now we see how the output comes. Clear? Now see, I copy this code, right? I copy this code and paste it. And instead of break, I use a one more keyword that continue is there. I use a keyword continue, right? Now, what happens, guys, see here. Let's first see the output, and then probably you can get a feel what the continue is doing here. Did you see the output, guys? We get the output Hyderabad, we get the output Chennai, we get the output Trivandrum, but the Bangalore is missing, right? Bangalore is missing. Why it is so? Basically, continue does not stop the loop execution. What happens in case of a break? Break stops the loop execution, but continue does not stop the loop execution. Let's say this condition becomes true. In that case, we will see continue. In case of a continue, in case of a continue, if you get a continue, rest of the statements will not execute, but your loop will continue to execute, right? So what happens here in the first iteration, item is equal to Hyderabad, and Hyderabad is not equal to Bangalore. So we will not see the continue, we will see the print item. In the second iteration, item is equal to Chennai. Again, Chennai is not equal to Bangalore, so we will not see the continue. Again, we print the item, right? In the third iteration, item is equal to Bangalore. So this condition becomes true. If this condition becomes true, we see the continue. If we get the continue, this item, this print statement will not be printed because continue skips rest of the statements and again continues the execution in the loop from the top, from the beginning, right? And this way, if this condition becomes true, right, the name of the city will not be printed. And that's why you can see in the output, we got the Hyderabad, we got the Chennai, but Bangalore was not printed, right? And Trivandrum was also there in the output. If I explain you using a image, probably that can give you a better idea, right? How the things are working here. So let me give you that. Okay, so I have an image here. Guys, see this image, right? In this image, you can see I'm taking while loop or any loop. So it will work for both. It will work for while loop as well. It will work for each as well, right? So we, in this case, in while loop, right, we are saying expression. Expression means condition, right? Here we have couple of statements under the while loop. Why they are under the while loop? Because you can see the indentation, right? So indentation is, here, right? So all of these statements are under the while loop. They are part of the while loop. If you get a break, right? There you can see we are out of the loop immediately. And any of this statement, any of these statement will not execute. As soon as you get a break, right, you are out of this loop. And this statement, right, is not part of while loop because you can see the change in indentation, right? So these statements are different from this statement, right? But if you get a continue, you can see we are not out of the loop. We just skip these two statements and again continue our execution from there, right? So continue is not, terminating the loop. Continue is just skipping, the statements that come after continue. So guys, the break and continue, is it clear to you guys? We will continue to use them in the future sessions as well, but I think now they should be clear to everyone that how the break and continue are working. If you have still some doubt, you can ask them during the discussion round. So when we have the discussion, when we have the questions, you can ask them, right? Okay, now moving to new stuff now. So I'm just closing it. Now, I take a list again. So this is the list, right? In this list, I take couple of items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say. I take, some integer values in the list. Now see guys, what I want to do in this list, let's see. I can access any of the list item using index mechanism. So what I can say, list 1 and index 0. What does it mean? It will print the first item in the list. It will print the first item in the list, and that would be 1 because our first item in the list is 1, right? And if I say list 1 minus 1, can you guys answer me what would be the output? Guys, can you answer me? If I say list 1 index minus 1, what is the meaning? Yes, a lot of people, saying 5, right? Because minus 1 indicates the last item in the list or in the string, right? So indexing is similar what we discussed in strings. The indexing is very similar, right? What we discussed in strings. We can also specify a range as well, what we used to do in case of strings. So we can specify a range like this, right? So in this case, index 0 will be printed, index 1 would be printed, index 2, right? 3 is excluded, right? So we will see the output, what? Index 1, we have 1, index 0, we have 2, and index 2, we have 3. So we have 3 items in the output. And we can see the output is again list. Output is again list, right? Now let's do a quick something. I'm just saying that whatever is there at index 0, currently the index 0 has value 1. I want to change it to 10, right? What I'm just trying to change, that whatever is returned at index 0, assign a new value there. And what is that new value? That new value is 10. So let's see if that is possible. Guys, can you remember that this kind of a statement was not successful in case of strings? This statement gave us error while we were talking about strings. and we found that strings are read only. But let's see what happens in case of list. And can I change it? Yes, without any error, right? Without any error, this statement got executed. And if this got executed, that means now the new value at index should be 10. So let's print the list now. So let's print the list 1, and there you can see the new value at index, 0 is 10. Earlier it was 1. That means strings can be modified. Strings can be modified, right? Unlike strings are immutable, but lists are mutable, right? Strings are immutable, but list is mutable. It can be changed, it can be modified, right? And that's why we were able to do this assignment. Clear? Now, if I can, modify a string, then I have lot of methods in case of a list. So let's see our first method. So what I do, I take this list again here. I take this list here again so that you can see what we are doing, right? Now, I say list1 dot append. There is a method. I'm talking about a new method now, guys. List1 dot append, and append requires a value. So let's say I say 100. What is the meaning here? List1 dot append. That means you have to add 100 as a value at end of the list. Append method will always add a item at the end. And if that is the case, I can print my list in the console. There you can see I got 100 here, right? You get the 100, guys? There you get 100, right? If I do one more append, what will happen? Again, it will add the item. So this time, let's say I add 101 or 105. So let's say I add 105. There you can see append. And now if I print it, there you can see this is append. So guys, did you get the idea what the append is doing? Append is adding a item in the list, right? So append is how the append is working here. You can see now, right? Now, append always adds the item at the last. But can I add a item anywhere in the list? For that reason, I have one more method called insert. What is the name of that method? Insert. What the insert will do? Insert requires two parameters. One parameter where you want to insert, so I have to specify the index. So let's say I want to insert at index 1. What is there at index 1 right now? At index 1 we have 2 right now, right? I want to insert a new value at index 1, comma, I want to specify the value. So let's say the value is 55. So what it does, it will insert a value 55 at what index? At index 1. So we have an insert here. So now you can see the insert, and now you see this. There, guys, you can see that earlier value at index 1 was 2. It got shifted forward, right? It is not replaced. It is not, it is not an assignment. It is an insertion, right? So in case of insertion, we got the 55 at index 1, and the 2 or 3 and 4 and 5 and 105, they shifted by one position forward. They shifted by one position forward. So that's how you, work with the insert, right? I'm able to add an item using append. That will always add the item in the last. I can also use the insert method. Can I remove the values from a list? Can I remove the values from a list, right? So for that, I have a method called remove, right? Currently, my list have these items, 1, 55, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100 and 105. Let's say I want to remove 100, so I have to specify the value. You have to specify the value which you want to remove. Please do not specify the index. Specify the value you want to remove, right? So let's say list1.remove, and in that case, now see what happens in case. So now you can see this value 100 is now removed from the list. What happens if we have the two values? What happens if we have the 200s? Remove method would remove only the first occurrence of that value. Remove method will remove the first occurrence. So let's say I take one more example here. So I have a couple of values, guys, here, 2, 3, again, I have a 2, or again, I have. So now I have 2, 2 times there. And now I call list1.remove, and I call 2. Will it remove this 2 as well or this 2 as well? No, it will remove only the first occurrence. See this, list1.remove, and now see the output. What is into the output now? There you can see. The first occurrence, right? This one is removed. We have 3, we have 2, and then we have the 5, right? If I want to remove the second part as well, I want to remove this as well, what I have to do? I have to do this something like, again, I have to call this. So I have to call remove 2 times. What happens if 2 is there, at one more location? So let's say we have a list something like that. We have 1, then we have 2, then 2, and then, of 2, and then again we have 2, and then we have again 2, right? So now I have a question for you guys, right? I have a question for you guys. I want to remove all the occurrences of value 2 from the list. I want to remove all the occurrences of 2. That means I want to remove every 2 from the list. How I can do that? Someone is saying use replace, someone is saying use loop, someone is saying run remove code 4 times, someone is saying remove all, someone is something, someone is remove individually. Okay. So people are listening me that I can. So there is no a method as such remove all. We have only one method remove, right? We have only one method remove. What we can do? Some people are saying use while loop, right? Okay. So how to use, someone is saying use for loop, someone is saying use set, but we did not talk about set yet, so we'll not discuss that solution, right? So let's see how to do that. Can I get that, how many times we have to? I can call a method list1.count, and the count I can specify what I want to check. So I call list1.count and I specify 2. What is the output? 4. That means it is saying that you have 2 at 4 locations in the list. So should I call remove method 4 times because I have got the count? I have come to know that how many times 2 is there, and correspondingly I can call the remove method 4 times. I think this is not a very good idea. What should I do? The right way is to use a while loop. While, right? While 2 in list 1. See this, guys. While, and then we have condition. While 2 in list. That means as long as you have 2 in the list, what to do? List1.remove 2, right? That's a very simple kind of a loop. It is just saying continue in the loop as long as you have 2 in the list, right? As long as you have 2 in the list, this loop will continue, otherwise terminate. So this way we can remove all the occurrences of the 2. So let's run it. And now you print the list 1, and there you can see we do not have any, 2 from that, right? So that's there. Guys, did you get an idea that how we can use a while loop to remove, you know, similar values from a list? Did you get the idea? A lot of people, you know, raising the hand. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Nice loop. Someone is saying nice loop. Okay, that's good. Okay. Instead of remove, we have one more method to remove the item from list, and that method is known as pop, right? So I'll show the example, guys. Let's say we have a list again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is the list we have, right? This is the list we have. And now you know that we can use remove method to, let's say, remove the 5. So we use 5, or let's say I want to remove 2 there. So now you can see in the list 1, 2 is removed, right? So that you can see. But there is one more method, list1 dot pop, right? What happens if I say pop? See this, list1 dot pop. It removed the item 5. The item that is removed, right, is shown on the console. When you remove an item using remove method, you do not see any output on the console. Mind the difference, guys. But if you call pop method, you get that value on the output which is removed, right? I again, you know, pop some other items. So I do pop. What happens in case of pop? I call the pop again. This time item 4 is removed. So every time I can see my list is shrinking. I again call list1 dot pop. This time only one item is left, right? That means pop will always remove the last item, right? I again call list1 dot pop. There you can see list is completely empty. And if I try to run the method again, I will get an error because now there are no more items in the list. And the message I get is pop from empty list, that you are trying to remove an item from the empty list, which is not possible, right? Now, I have list1 again, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kind of that, right? This one. By default, pop always removes the last item. No? As you guys know that append always adds the item in the last, pop always removes the item from the last, but I can specify an index as well in case of pop. So what I can say, list1 dot pop, right? If I do not give any value, it will remove the last item. But if I say remove from this index, this is index, that means I want to remove a value which has index 1. So what would be removed, guys, in that case? If I say index 1, what would be removed in that case? The value at index 1 would be removed, right? So let's run it, and there you can see 2 is removed from the list, right? So if you guys answer me right, I get to know that yes, you guys are connected, you are listening me, right? You are getting what I'm saying, and the class is going smoothly. There is no issue. All of you guys are getting, or understanding what we are discussing, right? So that's the case here. So we have discussed a couple of methods. Now, I again take this list back. So I have a couple of items here, and now I call this method list1 dot clear. List1 dot clear. What happens? I call it, and now you can see list1. All of the items from the list are removed. Clear will remove all the items from the list and make your list empty. Make your list empty. that was the clear method. Now, couple of examples again. List 1, right? List 1 is equal to, I take a list like this, 2 and then 10 and then 1 and then 0 and then let's say 4. This is the list, right? I call a method reverse, list1 dot reverse. See this, what happens. And now print the list. What happened? If I call the method reverse, can you see, guys? My list items are now in reversed order. Earlier 4 was at the last item. Now 4 is the first item. Earlier 0 was the second last item. Now this is the second item, right? And this way, so using reverse method, we can reverse the list as well, right? Again, I take this list again. We will check for one more method here. This one, guys, right? Now you have list 1, right? I call one more method called list1 dot sort, right? List1 dot. All of these methods I'm discussing are related to list only. Please do not apply them on a string. We have already discussed the string methods, right? So string methods are different from the list methods, right? So now I want to say list1 dot sort, and in this case, what happens? See this, after running this method, we again, this, right? So here you can see that after calling this method, my list got sorted. So method did not, gave me the output. After running this method, when I, trying to print the list 1, then I get the output. And all of the items are sorted in increasing order. If you want to sort them in decreasing order, what you have to say there is a, parameter, I think, reverse is equal to false. Let me check if that is working. Or reverse is equal to true, I think I should say reverse is equal to true, right? So let's see if that works. And then we have the list. So now, if I say reverse is equal to true, that means I want to reverse, them in, decreasing order, right? Now, guys, I'll discuss 2 more items in the list, and then we'll go to the next topic, right? What is that? List is a heterogeneous data structure in Python. What I say? List is a heterogeneous data structure in Python. That means you can have different data types in the list. You can have different data type. That means, can I define a list something like that? I take some integer value, I take some, float value, I take some, Boolean value, or I take some string as well, right? So is that, allowed in, Python? So let's see. Yes, this is allowed in Python. So I have multiple data types here. I have integer, I have float. And if you remember now, this is not allowed in case of C programming. In case of C programming, all items should be of same data type, right? But in case of Python list, we can have, items from different data types as well. So arrays in C programming are homogeneous because they only contain the single data type. But in case of Python, list is heterogeneous. We can have different data types as well. Clear? That's the case. Now, last topic from the list, right? I take a list which is 1, 2, and 3. That's the list here. I take another list with the name list 2, 10, 20, and 30. Right? Guys, now what I want to do, listen, what I want to do. I want to, add items from list 2 to list 1. What I want to do? Add items from list 1. So I have to take item 10 from the list 2 and add to list 1. Then I have to take item 20 from the list 2 and add it to list 1. And then I have to take item 30 and add it to list 1. How I can do that? So basically, I have to append individual items from the list 2 to list 1. How I can do that, guys? Should I use something like loop? What I can do, I can just go through a loop using list 2. So what I can see this, for each item in list 2, print item. So here we get the items 10, 20, 30, but I don't have to print them. I have to append them, right, in the list 1. So rather than print a statement, what statement I should use here? List 1 dot append. And what to append? Item. So when the loop runs for the first time, item would be equal to 10. So it will append the 10. And the second iteration, item would be 20, then it will append the 20. And the third iteration, item would be 30, then it will append the 30 and the list 1. So now you see, if I run this loop and you see what is happening in case of. So now you can see all of these items are individually added in the list 1. Now see, I again take these two lists here and call a one more method, extend. What method? Extend, right? And in the extend, what I specify? List 2. What I specify? List 2. So this time I'm not using the loop what I have used earlier. I have used a different method, extend, and let's see what happens if I use extend method. And if I use extend method, see the change in the list 1. Oh, okay, so let me run it again. So let me clear, and now see the extend. Here you can see, and now see what happens in case of this one. So using extend also, what is happening? Individual item from the list 2 are picked up and they are added in the list 1, right? There is one more possible way. One more possible way is what? We take these two lists here, and what we can do? We can concatenate them, list 1 plus list 2. See the output, guys. We got the output, but there is no change in the list 1. The concatenation is only giving us the output and the display. There is no change in the list 1. If I want to make the changes in list 1, I have to write it something like that. That list 1 should be equal to list 1 plus list 2. And now the output of concatenation is actually assigned to list 1, and now the list 1 will have this. So guys, I have told you 3 methods, right? There is one method using loop that you can use to append the values from the list 2 to list 1. Then we used one more method, extend, and then also concatenation way as well. So now we have discussed a couple of methods from the list. So I think list is very clear to you guys. Is it good to go? A list is a very, very important data structure in Python. List is heavily used in case of data analytics, in case of machine learning, in case of deep learning, in case of artificial intelligence. List is a very, very important data structure. Why I'm calling it data structure? Because using this, you can, store multiple values, right? You can store multiple values, right? So this is how, you can do that, right? So now, after this, I'm going to discuss a new topic now, guys. So far things are clear to you guys? Give me a response. So far things for today's discussion, are they clear to you guys? Are they interesting? Yeah, a lot of people saying yeah, super, yeah, clear, yeah, okay, yeah, wonderful, interesting, super, awesome, okay, interesting, बहुत बढ़िया. Someone said बहुत बढ़िया. Okay, wonderful. Okay, good. Okay. So generally, guys, if you still have some doubts, right? If you have some doubts, you can always go back to YouTube channel, right? And that YouTube channel, Fast Coding School, there are recorded videos available, right? What session we are taking right now, it is recorded. The recording would be available on the school there, on the channel, Fast Coding School, right? You can go there, subscribe to it, right? And now I'm talking about a new topic, and that topic is functions. What is that topic? Functions. Generally, okay, I'll come back to loops again. I'll come back to loops again tomorrow. And tomorrow I will give you a differentiation that where to use while loop and where to use for loop. That question is still not answered. Yesterday someone asked me this question, that how to find out where to use while loop and where to use for loop, right? I'll answer this question tomorrow. So I'll take couple of examples again, and I will explain where to use right, uh, where to use uh, uh, for and where to use while. So a lot of people are answering me, and I can see the answers, and they are correct, right? Kirtana from Kirtana M is giving the answer. Okay, now guys. Now guys, I'm going to discuss about functions. That would be our last topic, and we will take the tuples tomorrow, right? We will take the tuples tomorrow. First of all, you have to understand why to use functions. First of all, you have to understand why to use functions. Functions are used to make your code modular. What is the meaning of modular? Modular means that you separate out the things logically. So let's say you are building an application, web application, and it has a lot of features. It has a login page, it has a logout page, it has settings page, it has accounts page, it has some page, it has that page, it has blah, blah, blah pages, right? If you want to make your code modular, or if you want to develop a project which is modular, what you should take, that you should write every feature in a separate file. That means for login page, you should have a separate file, login dot some py, let's say. For logout feature, you should have a separate file. For settings, you should have a separate file. That way you can make it modular. If you have the entire code in single file, you can use functions. Generally, why to use functions? Functions also make your code modular. If you have a piece of code which is used multiple times and you are going to write the same code again and again, what you can do, you can use functions, and within that function you can have that code which is executed multiple times, that you write multiple times, and that way functions help you to develop your project or develop your code, as a modular code. So how to define a function in Python? How to define a function in Python? For that, we use a keyword def, right? After the def keyword, you have to name the function. You have to name the function, that what should be the name of your function. So in that case, let's say we want to a name. So let's say our name is add values. So that's, you see guys, add values is my name of function. After that, you have to specify the list of parameters, the parameter it will take while calling. So let's say I specify it will take two parameters, A and B. I don't have to specify the data type, right? Colon. After that, I have to say a return statement, and what it will return? It will return me a plus b, right? It returns a. That means it is returning me a addition of the two values a and b. So this is a very simple function I have defined here, right? Here is the keyword def. Here we have the name of the function. Here we have the list of parameters. Then we have column. We can have more statements here, right? And finally, we have a return statement, right? Now, this is the definition of your function. That's how you define a function. And now how to call it? You can call it by its name. So name of the function is this. And now you have to call this function by specifying the actual values. So let's say you specify 10 and 30. That means when you call this function, 10 will go to A and 30 will go to B. And in the response, what we will get? We will get the addition of these two values. Let's say I use a print statement as well. So print will print what this function returns. Print will print what this function, returns, right? So in that case, it will return the addition, and there you see the output 40, right? So this is how you, simply specify, right? Let me take one more example, def, right? And now I specify a function, say hello, and this time I'm not taking any parameters. There you can see it is empty, right? I have a column and I just say return, and in the return I'm returning a string hello, from FOSS, right? So this time when I call this function, say hello, what would be returned? This string would be returned. So now this is the function, and now I print say hello, right? That is the function name, and I call it, and that's how you call it. And there you see, guys, that's the output. That's the output. That's the return string we got it, right? So this is the way you can define a function in Python. We will continue our discussion around Python whenever there is any problem, right? So this is just an introduction to you. We have, in days to come, we would be talking more about functions, right? So that is a session for today, guys. Now I will go for a 5-minute break. It can be a 10-minute as well. Sometimes it gets extended. And in the meantime, Sylvester will, explain you the assignments that you have to make.
So I request you to open the assignments in the Spider itself.
What you say?
Open the assignments in the Spider.
Yeah, I'll explain that. Update 2 there, you have day 3 assignments here. Can you request me remote access? I think you can explain now. Sylvester,
Yeah.
sir,
Yeah. Thank you.
are we back?
Good evening, everybody. So, hope you people are enjoying the assignments. Usually, I'm called the bad guy because I give a lot of assignments, and Yogadra is known as the good guy because he explains you the concept, no? And every day I come in the 10 minutes break and give you a lot of assignments. But I think so. It's an important aspect that once you learn a concept, you need to implement that concept to solve a problem. And what we have seen in the past, that if a student learns how to solve a problem, he becomes a very good engineer. So that's why we have made a lot of assignments for you people so that you can practice what has been taught to you on a daily basis. And if you see what topic Yogadra sir teaches you, the assignments matches that. So if you see today, you have learned the concept of list, you have learned the concept of for loop, you have learned the concept of functions. So for today, there are two assignments, assignment 6 and assignment 7. In assignment 6, the name of the code challenge or assignment is clean the messy salary from the list. This assignment is in continuation to the last assignment, what you did, the salary. You remember the salary assignment? You had to remove three things. Sorry, you had to remove two things. You had to remove the dollar, you had to remove the comma, and you need to convert that string into integer. Vignesh, I think so. There is some problem in my microphone. That's why there's a too much of background noise coming. Okay, please bear with me today. Yeah. So today's assignment, you need to make a file by the name of salary2.py file. And what I have done is, I have created on line number 126. I'll take all the doubts after the once I explain the assignments. Yeah, please hold on. If you concentrate on the line number 126, you have a list of bad salaries. And what you need to do is, now you need to create another list with the clean salaries. So what I've given you is on 126 salaries and the list of salaries. Okay, you do not need to take any input from the user. You need to write some for loop, process each and every salary, create another list by the name of salaries 2 after cleaning your salary. This is the small assignment you need to do in assignment number 6. Hope assignment number 6 is clear to everybody. It's a very easy one. So if you see the output, once Yogendra sir comes, I'll run the solutions for both and tell you how the output should look. Okay, Rupasari, is this clear? It should print a list with the clean salaries. This is what you need to do in assignment number 6. Now coming to assignment number 7. Assignment number 7 is a bit typical one. It will you have to use a while loop to take multiple inputs from the user, and we need to create what is known as a shopping list. Okay, and what we need to do is you need to create a file by the name of shopping.py file. You need to write a small Python code for it. When your program starts, you need to take input one by one. Listen carefully what I'm trying to explain you. In the shopping list assignment, you need to take input one by one. Let's assume we all are in lockdown and we need to bring some items from the market. So what you need to create is a small shopping list. So when I run my program, I should be able to enter, for example, bread. So what I do is when my program starts, I enter bread and give an enter. My program is still waiting for the next input. Okay, so now I enter milk, press enter again. Now my program is again waiting for the next item in my shopping list. Now let's imagine I enter the word QUIT in capital, quit. What my program does? It terminates my while loop. And what I do? Before terminating my program, it prints the shopping list. And I need to store all this information where? In a list. Sorry, in line number 148, I will type DONE and not quit. Okay, sorry. So in this program, when I type DONE done, my program terminates. Okay, this is a small program what you need to create. Okay, I'll give you some hint. You need to use a concept of while, create an infinite loop, take inputs from the user, one line, one input. When user enters an item, put into your list. I think so sir has explained to you today how to append items into a list. And when anybody enters DONE done, you need to terminate the while loop. I remember that sir has explained you the use case of break. This is the hint which I am trying to give you. Okay? And once your program terminates, all my items are present where? In my shopping list. What I need to do now? I need to use a for loop now and print each and every element of the shopping list. Hope both the assignments are clear to everybody now. A small announcement. Yesterday's assignment solutions is uploaded on this Google Drive. So you people can go there, okay, and look for the solution. What you need to do is you need to compare your solution with my solution. And then try to learn what wrong you have done in your solution. Okay, every day somebody or the other asks me what is the drive link. I have explained you multiple times. This drive link is very important. It's a lifeline for your learning. I'm again trying to share it to everybody. Okay, please make a note of this. Yeah, if you have any questions on the assignment, I'm ready to take now. Yeah, Dhruvan Das, when Yogendra sir comes back, I'll re-explain the assignment. By running, it will be very clear to you what I am trying to expect from the program. Yeah. Likhana, Gajendra, I'll run the solution for shopping list, then it will be very clear to you people. Kaushik, we always try to upload the YouTube the same day, but in worst condition, it's been uploaded the next day. I'll request everybody that if they look for or they wait for the YouTube videos recording, go and subscribe to our channel. The moment we upload something, you'll get a notification. Yeah. Neha Saxena, yesterday's assignment not uploaded. Neha, on the Google Drive, you always have a copy of assignment. Neha, there's a directory by the name of solutions. You have the solutions there. Go and check there. Dhanush, I've explained the assignment 5. Please check the recordings, you get to know. Yeah. Kohli from Coimbatore. I'll re-explain the shopping list once Yogendra sir comes in. I'll run the solution re-explain. Yeah. Yes, Swastika, you need to print the item from the list one by one. Yes, you need to do that. Yeah, Shalini, you can re-upload the assignments, no issues. Yes, Swati, you can submit the yesterday's assignment, no issues. Lokesh Lucky, please put off your video. We have been requesting everybody to put off the videos. Lokesh Lucky. Akula is asking, in assignment submission, whose mail we have to give, whether our mail or your mail. It's your mail, Akula. No, there is no mark deductions for if you have done something wrong. Bhavna, Rajeshwari. Kangana, give me a little time when once Yogendra sir comes in, I'll run the solution and show you. Yeah? Dhanush is not being, we cannot check each and every assignment. That's why I told you, you need to use a self-evaluation mechanism. We upload the solution the next day. Check your solutions with our solutions and do a self-evaluation. Yeah? Yes, if your solution is different from mine, no issues. We'll accept that. Yeah, Kanya? Assignment 7 is same as yesterday. No, it's different. Assignment 7 is different. Manoj takes the updated list from assignments from the Google Drive. Yeah, there may be a number difference. In shopping list, we have to take each item as input. Yes, Abhishek, you have to do that. Yes, Swastika, there are 2 assignments for today. Hints are already given, Venkatesh. You go to the Google Drive and take the copy of the assignments. Neha Saxena, we are not mailing you the assignment solution. The assignment solutions are always uploaded on the Google Drive. Go and check the Google Drive. You'll get the solutions there, Neha. Yes, Isaiah, if you fail to send your assignments number 4, you can resend it after the class, no issues. Ananya, I didn't get your question. You can ask in the doubt session. Nitya is asking, do we need to take separately the shopping list? There's no separately, you need to create a list there. Kirthana is asking, can we insert method here? Yes, you can. So are you back, sir?
Yeah, I'm there.
So can you do one thing, sir? Can you run the solution of salary to a shopping list and show the people so that it's very clear to them?
Which one?
Shopping list and salary to both.
Okay. So guys, now salary2.py na?
Yes, sir. Salary2.py and shopping.py.
Okay. So guys, the assignment 6, right? Corresponding to assignment 6, we have a solution with the name salary2.py. And if I, run this code, should I run it directly, Sylvester sir? Hello?
You can run, sir.
Okay. So let me click on this run button, right? And now if I click on this run button, there you can see the output. Here is the output coming. So output is coming 2 times because this program has written with 2 different versions, version 1 and version 2, and that's why you get the 2 output. This output is from the version 1 and the same output with the version 2, and that's why you see the output 2 times. So this is how you have to have a list, and within that list the salaries are written like that, and these salaries are cleaned salaries, right? And the other file is which one?
Shopping.py.
Shopping.py, guys. So this is the shopping.py, guys. This is corresponding to the assignment number 7, right? And how to run it. So let's run it. And when we run it, it is asking me something. What it is asking? And what should we pick up at the store? So we have to, give the names. And finally, once our list is exhausted and we are done, right? We have to, enter the done. So let's say I have to buy milk for let's say, again, it is asking me. So let's say this time I have to say Brad, right? Or let's say this time I have to Maggie. Okay, and now I'm done. So what I have to write? Done. And when I say done, the loop is finished and it prints my list.
One important point here is you don't need to put the done in the list. Yeah.
So this is how and you have to submit these 2 assignments before, next class tomorrow, right? Before next class tomorrow, you have to submit. So guys, Isai is saying, I was failed to send my today solution assignment 4. Can I send after the class? Is there any issue? Please send after the class. There is no issue. Nasima is saying, sir, shall I leave the class? Yes. If you have no doubts, you can leave the class, right? So guys, now you can, if you have any specific questions, right, you can ask. Vignesh is saying, sir, is MATLAB working in the same principle as Python? So generally, Vignesh, MATLAB is primarily used in academics, right? In educational institutes. MATLAB is not that much used in industry. IT industry, generally is more on Python, more on Java, more on JavaScript, more on C or C++ kind of programming languages. MATLAB is a tool which requires minimal coding, right? Which requires minimal coding. So generally, if you want to do some customization, that is not possible in MATLAB. So MATLAB is mainly used by professors or teaching, faculties or researchers, and Python has a different, scenario. Divya Nandesh is saying, sir, how to run an infinite loop, infinite while loop. Okay. So if you want to run an infinite while loop, what you can do, you can say something like that. Divya, let's see on the screen. So I have a while, and this, there I have to specify the condition. Let's say I want to run a loop which is, infinite in nature. So I can specify condition as true. That means the condition is always true. And now I can say print hello. So this loop will keep on printing hello infinitely. This is an infinite loop. So let's run it. And there you see hello, 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 right? And if you want to break this loop, press this red button here. Deepika is saying how to get input list from the user. Okay, so Deepika, what you can do, let's say you are calling an input method, and I say enter the city names, right? Enter the city names. I take the names here. Got it? Now, as you see, city. So let's say I say Agra, Delhi, Chennai. So I'm using a space in between. So I entered 3 city names here, and now you can see names are this. Now what I can do, input method will always give you a string. And now next what you can do, you can split this. So what you can do, names dot split. Split using what? Space. And you can have list1 is equal to this. So now you will see list1 has got the city names like Agra, Delhi, and Chennai. Deepika. Okay. So guys, tomorrow we do not have the class, right? Tomorrow we have off. We will take the next class on Monday, right?
So as per the schedule, tomorrow the class is there.
Right?
So,
Huh?
as per the schedule, tomorrow class is there.
The class is there tomorrow.
Yes, yes. As per the schedule, there's a class tomorrow also.
I was in impression that there is
No. Class is scheduled for tomorrow.
Let me check with that. Okay. Dictionary and static list reduce in this. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So I was in wrong impression, guys. There is a class tomorrow as per the schedule. Okay. What are the Gautam Mohan is asking what is the difference between a stack and a list. So guys, a stack is something which is not there in Python. You have to write a code and then implement the stack. But the list is already part of Python. List is inbuilt there. Stack is not inbuilt. You can create a stack by using a code in Python. The way you create a stack in C programming using coding, right? Using code, the same way you have to write the code in Python and you can implement the stack. But the list is already part of Python, right? Okay. Bhargav Madala is saying that Python you use for game development. Generally, game development for game development you have a very different kind of a tool, but still In Python, there is a library with the name called Pygame. There is a library called Pygame that can be used to develop a game in Python, right? But mostly industry uses a different tool. That tool name is called as Unity. Unity 3D is the name of the tool. Using Unity, you can write code in C# or code in JavaScript. So generally, augmented reality based games or virtual reality based games are developed using Unity 3D. Madala, right? Okay. Swastika from Coimbatore is saying, sir, how to remove only the second occurrence from the list? Swastika, for that you will have to write a code. There is no direct method available, right? To remove the second item. Divya Nulu is saying, sir, only 2 assignments for today. Yes, Divya, only 2 assignments are there, right? Kirtana has the same question, sir. There is a same number twice in the list and I want to remove the second one, but not the first one. How can I remove? Kirtana, there is no direct method available. You will have to make use of some loop or some if condition, and then only you can remove the second item. Directly, there is no method, right? Sir, how to use not equal to in Python? Ashwin has a question. So, Ashwin, this is the you can use this not in operator is this the same as in some other programming. Ashwin, this is not equal, right? Shruti Raja is saying, what is the last timing to submit the assignment? Tomorrow. Before tomorrow's class, you have to do that. Avinash Reddy is saying, sir, how to convert each list item to strings? Avinash, what is your can you please detail out your question and then I can I can answer that. Sanjana Panisetti is saying, sir, how we can combine 2 lists, so list 1 and list 2 and the output. So in that case, what you can do, Sanjana, so let's say you have list 1 is equal to 1, 2, 3. This is your list. And then you have list 2, which is like 4, 5, 6. And now what you can do, you can combine using this way, list 1 dot extend. You can use a direct method extend and extend list 2 and then print the list 1, right? And then print the list 1. So there you can see the list 1 would be like that, right? Sanjana. Siva is saying, sir, can we split list into strings? No. List cannot be splitted. A split method is for a string. So if you want to, convert a string to a list, you can use a split. But there is no split method for list, right? Saundarya Rama Subramaniam is saying, sir, how to add some integers as arrays? Okay, so you are saying something like that, Saundarya, some 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. In Python, we have direct method sum, and you can pass the name of your list. In that case, it will give the output 10. Saundarya, right? Kanya KS is saying whether there is any option to receive the list in one command. Please, detail out your question, Kanya. I'm not able to, understand. Kirtana is saying no problem, sir. It is very interesting and we will attend. Okay. Saundarya has a question again. If the list has only integers, how to add each of the items? Saundarya, I gave your answer. There is a method called sum, right? Yeah, Divya, it is fine. Kratika Bandre is saying, sorry, how to access. Sorry. Sorry guys for the disturbance. Okay, so Kratika is saying how access each character of element in list. So I think you are trying to say something like that, Kratika. Let me show you one example. Let's say list one has two names, right? One is let's say Dali, and the other is let's say Chennai, right? These are the two names. Now you know we can use a for loop, right? For each item in list one, and then we can print the item here. So there you can see, right? Now I think you want to print the characters one by one, right? So D, E, L, H, I. So for that reason, you will have to use a one more loop, so loop inside loop. So now what you have to do, you get the item using this loop. Now again run a loop for each letter in item. So this time, this loop is running on the list one, and the inner loop will run on the item itself, right? And now we can print the letter. So there you see, you get the characters separately. What additional you can do, here you can write a print statement done. So what will make a difference, that after printing the letters from the each item, you will see a done, right? So that will give a separation. So there you see, we printed Delhi one by one, and then we got the done. We printed Chennai one by one, and we got the done. Kratika, was this is what you were looking for? Did I answer your question? Kirti 26 is saying, sir, difference between remove and delete. Guys, there is no method as delete in the list, right? We have a delete method, but the use is different. So let's say we have a list 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 like this. When I want to use remove method, how will use it? Remove. And let's say I want to remove the item 5, but you want to delete, you want to use the delete method, then we have del, right? And in the del, what I can say, list 1 index 0. So here del is the direct method, and this method is not part of the list. What methods we have in the list is dir method, and then we pass the list. So we know directory method, what I pass, list, and you can see the methods are append, clear, copy, count, index, extend, insert, pop, remove, reverse, and sort, right? And there you see there is no delete method, right? So del method is a universal method that would be applied to string as well, but remove method is specific to string only, and that's why you are using it using a dot operator. But for del method, you are not using dot operator because that is a global function, right? So I think Kirti, I answered your question. Pramod, can you paste your code, and I can see where it is giving the error. Nishal BJ is saying, sir, give more real assignment at end of this program. Yes, we will give, Nishal. Yes, Salini, you are right. Logical operators are same as C. So guys, now what you can do, I'm telling you one, way to sometimes find the answer on your own. So actually, let's say Ashwin is asking a question, sir, what is the difference between and and? So this is the question. So I have to copy it and I'll show you on there. So this is the question asked by, Ashwin. Guys, see, that is saying, what is the difference between this end and this end? So very valid question, Ashwin, right? But let's see how to find answers to such questions from the Google as well. So what we can do, we copy this and we open the browser, right? So I have opened the browser. So this is my browser. I go to the new tab. I go to the Google one, right? So I go to Google. I search it, right? And I select this. What is the difference between and in Python? This is my question, right? And now guys, I should look for a, site, and the name of that site which I'm looking actually for, should be Stack Overflow. That is a very good site, right? So maybe if that is not there, you can write in the search.
It's the first site there, sir.
Okay, so this is there. This okay, I think this is not the question I'm looking for. Let me check if there is any question related to that. Can I go there? Okay. Okay. So guys, now you can see this. It is saying that, this operator is basically for intersection in set. Set will come later. And is used for, having a condition. And is used for having a condition in if, or kind of condition. So like, in the code we have used earlier as well, like, if marks are greater than 60 and, marks are something like that, so this way, less than 100, say this. So this is the condition. So these are the two conditions, and you have to either you can use and here or you can use or here. So depending on your problem, you will have to apply and or keyword to check for the conditions. Divya Nandesh is saying, so does Python 2.7 and 3.7 use the same syntax? Mostly syntaxes are same, but 3.7 has couple of more libraries. Internal implementation is a little bit changed, but the syntax almost remains same, Divya, right? Kangan Agarwal is saying, sir, also how we can add elements in the list using loops. We can use that, Kangan, right? You can run a loop and then you can, ask the user to, add, give the, values. So in the loop, what you can do, you can call an input method, and what you get from the input method, you can, append that into a list, right? Shambhu, I did not get your question. So can you please, elaborate it? Can you give me the more details around that? Avinash Reddy is saying, sir, list is equal to, hello and hi. How I have to remove LO in index 0 items. So again, there is no direct method available, Avinash, right? And you will have to write a code, right? Yukta Srivastav, this will not work, what you are saying, Yukta. You will have to use a loop, right? This will not work, what you are trying to do, right? Hemant is saying how to insert a new item into a list. You can use an insert method, Hemant. We use the insert method. You can go to this class again. We used a insert method. Let's see, this was the insert method we used, right? Kirti, no, you cannot use, so in the C programming, we used AND, right? So equivalent to this, we have AND in Python. So this was in C programming, and this is in Python, right? Priyanka is saying, sir, thank you, sir. Class was wonderful. Okay, thank you, Priyanka. Amulya is saying, sir, how to initialize a list? So we can initialize a list like this. This way, your list gets initialized. This is initialization of a blank list. A blank list means no items, but a list has been initialized. Amulya, right? Kangan is saying how to insert elements in the list using loop. Okay, so let's run that piece of code. I'm going to tell you. I think we can have that kind of. So Amulya, again, Amulya have a complementary question that I want to initialize 10 elements with 0. So what you can say, Amulya, list 1 is equal to, right, 0 and then multiplied 10. So this is the way that you are initializing 10 items in the list, and every item is set to 0. Amulya, right? Amulya, did you get the answer? Okay. Okay, now I'm coming to that question from whose question was that? Kangan, right? I run a while loop, right? I keep it a infinite loop. I call the input method, enter the name. That's where I'll read this name from input method, and also I will take a list which is initially blank. So this list is completely blank right now, and what I will do list1 dot append here, and what to append here? Name. So this is the way I can run a piece of code, enter the name. So I enter, let's say, Hyderabad. I enter Chennai, right? I enter Mysore, let's say, right? And now this loop is going on. But how can I come out of this loop? This is an infinite loop. So what I can do, I can make a change in this code that if I press blank, without entering any text, I press enter, then the loop should break. So I can do if not name, right? I think if not name. So this is the way. If not name, we do a break. What is the meaning of this statement? Let's understand that. This means that if there is no entry in the name and you have directly pressed the enter without putting any name, the loop will break. So let's run it again. Enter the name. Let's say I enter the A, and then I enter the another name B, then enter the C, then the D, and this time I press enter directly without adding anything, and there you see the loop is terminated, and my all of the values are in the list one now. So there you can see the list A, B, C, D. Kangan, did you get it? Gopi Sheikh is saying thank you, sir. We'll meet you tomorrow class. Thank you. Kangan, now I think you can, make changes as per your requirement in this piece of code, right? Imtiaz, no, you can't do that. Imtiaz, it is not allowed, right? Shambhu, suppose I'm having n numbers of items in the list, what would be the output? I think Shambhu, you're trying to say something like list one, we have couple of items, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have direct methods. Let's say you want to add the numbers in the list, you can call the sum method, right? Or you can use, I think you have a mult. I don't think so you have something like that. Kaushik, Jagdish is saying, can we swap the values in the list? You will have to write a code, Jagdish. You can do anything because Jagdish, that list can be modified, right? Right, list can be modified, so you can make any changes. Oma is saying, sir, how to represent a matrix in Python? For that, Oma, you need to use a library called NumPy, right? And that, gives matrix operations are there. So in the next time, we will run a new course for data analytics, right? We are going to run a new course, data analytics, very soon. And if you join that course, there we would be discussing about the NumPy and the matrix operations. Uma, right? Veda, yes, there is a called main function in Python, but we discuss about main function when we talk about more detailed concepts like object-oriented programming and all. This does not come in, the basic Python, program. Priyanka, the program on data analytics will be announced soon, probably in the next class or class after tomorrow. We will make the announcement, and you can register for that, right? Yeah, Kaushik, the example you have given, Kaushik Vishwanathan, is example of chaining. So where you are doing the split and you are doing the join and you are typecasting into the integer at the same line. This is the chaining. Chaining means one operation by one operation, then one operation in one single statement, right? Imtiaz is saying, sir, can you run the shopping list again? Yes, shopping list is there, Imtiaz, and I can run it. And then it is asking me to enter the name of items, right? So let's say I want to buy the milk, and then I want to buy the bread, and then I want to buy the apple, and then finally I write done. So there you can see it prints me the list, Imtiaz, right? Bye, Hemant. Bye, Shambhu. Yes, Veda, you can do that. Yeah, thank you, Imtiaz. See you. Pramod is saying, sir, how to print items in the list one by one. For that, Pramod, you can use a for loop, right? That, let's say this is the list, right? And we can use a for loop that for each item in list one, print item, right? This is how you use a loop, and you can, this way you can print the items one by one. Sahana is saying thank you. Nishal is saying thank you, sir. Bye. Okay, bye, Sahana. Pramod, you know, this way you can print the items one by one. So guys, how is program going on for you? Robin is saying thank you. See you tomorrow. Yeah, thank you, Robin. See you. How the program is going on, guys? Let me know. Priyanka is saying, sir, very helpful, sir. Okay, cool. Shambhu is saying fantastic. Oma is saying very useful. Good. Hari Priyanka is saying badhiya. Pramod is saying good, great. Likhit is saying good. Shravanti is saying, sir, due to poor connectivity, I could not attend fully. May I know whether did you discuss tuple? No, I did not discuss tuples, Shravanti. We will discuss the tuples tomorrow. Abhishek is saying how to practice after the session. I'll let you know tomorrow in tomorrow's session, Abhishek. You can use a couple of sites like HackerRank or HackerRank for the practice, right? Aarti is saying very useful session, sir. Thank you. Divyana Nulu is saying awesome, very interesting and useful. Likita Palagiri is saying, Shravanti is saying thanks. Shalini is saying it's going good and informative. Thank you, sir. Abhishek is saying thank you. Yeah. Hi. So guys, see you tomorrow. And tomorrow we will have something very important and very new. So maybe Jaya is saying very clear teaching, sir. Thank you, Jaya. So tomorrow's topics would be different. Generally, so far what we have, teaching you, they are part of your college studies, but tomorrow we will have a very interesting session on something new functions, new topics, right? Imtiaz, please do a Google once, right? And you will find the answer, right? Please do. And if you're not able to get the answer there, we will, do that. Shravanti S is saying, wonderful session, sir. I am a faculty with only electronics knowledge, but still I can follow it. Thank you so much. I'm gaining confidence slowly. Thank you, Shravanti ma'am. And it's good that people from the, academic fraternity are also joining such sessions. Thank you, Shravanti ma'am. Thank you. Jagdish M is saying your teaching is giving a joy, like getting a chicken dinner in PUBG. Thank you, sir. I'm not a chicken, Jagdish, but anyway, thanks. Thank you for your compliment. And thank you, really thank you. We are happy that you are liking the sessions. Thank you. Please write a review for us if you are, if you are liking our sessions. Please do write a review for us on Google. It's a request to all of you guys. Please write the review there. So I think we can close the session now, guys. Thank you. See you tomorrow.